Chapter 8. Parents do go on sometimes, don't they? And on and on and on. I thought Dad would never let the subject drop. The first hour was the worst, of course. You know what it's like. We've all been there. I never can understand why people shout when they get angry. What's the point? Usually they're standing so close to your ear holes as they can possibly get. So why do they have to shout? Dad had a good rant and rave, so did Mum. This bawling out was delivered in full deluxe stereo. There was nothing I could say in my defence. Well, what could I have said? I just let Mum and Dad get on with it and patiently waited until they had finished. Then they began shouting at me because they thought I wasn't listening. I ask you. Even the Eskimos in Greenland were getting fed up with listening to them. "Aren't you the least bit sorry?" Dad repeated again and again, and his face kept switching from red to purple to white and back to red again. Of course I was sorry. I'd said I was sorry about 50 times already, but apparently that wasn't enough. I wanted to say, "Look, Dad, me saying sorry for the millionth time is not going to repair your mobile phone." But I had a strong feeling that probably wasn't a good idea. "Well, you're going to have to pay for a replacement," Dad growled vengefully. Where do parents get these crazy ideas from? There was no way I had the money to pay for a mobile phone. If I walked Streaker until Christmas, I still wouldn't have enough money. Secondly, all my pocket money comes from Mum and Dad in the first place. If you look at it logically, that meant that they would be buying the mobile phone with their own money anyway. Another strong feeling told me that it would not be a good idea to point this out to my parents. Luckily, Mum asked Dad if the phone had been insured, and it had. That meant that all Dad had to do was to ring the insurance company and tell them that Streak had run off with it, or that some monster moggy had eaten it, and they would pay for a replacement. Dad was quite pleased when he realised this. I'm sure he knew that there was no chance of me coming up with the money. On the other hand, he was still annoyed because he reckoned I was getting off lightly. "How long were you trying out this totally stupid idea of yours?" he asked. "Oh, about half an hour." "Half an hour?" Another explosion from Dad. I was beginning to reckon that if there was some way of harnessing Dad to a power station, his explosions could be turned into enough electricity to light up half the country. Imagine it. People would be sitting at home when the lights began to dim, and somebody would say, "Hey, lights are fading. Someone go and poke Trevor's Dad. That'll get them going again." "Half an hour?" repeated Dad. "Do you know how much it costs for a half an hour on a mobile?" This is another continual source of astonishment to me. I'm 11. Does Dad really think I know how much his phone calls cost? To cut a long bawling out short, Dad decided I must have run up a bill for at least £5, which I would have to repay. Dad seemed fairly satisfied now that he had delivered his punishment, and I was left in peace. At last. So that was another £5 gone. So far I'd lost at least £10 because of paying for the dog biscuits and the phone bill, and I hadn't actually earned anything yet. I decided to keep a low profile for a while. You know how it is when your parents get in one of their blame you for everything moods. Mum ran out of yoghurt. That was my fault. Dad couldn't find his golfing cap. That was my fault too. The car wouldn't start. My fault again. They kept glaring at me and muttering, "What's that boy been up to now?" I wanted to jump up and down and confess, "Yes, it was me. I really don't know what made me do it. I must have been born to be bad. I filled Dad's golfing cap with yoghurt and I stuffed it in the car's petrol tank." Needless to say, I kept quiet. I didn't go and see Tina for a couple of days and walked Streaker by myself, which was a real chore. I was getting desperate. Over half the holidays had gone and I still hadn't trained Streaker. Just to make matters worse, I discovered what Charlie Smug had tipped into the tin bath: frog spawn. There were great dollops of translucent grey jelly slopping about on top of the scummy water. I stood and stared, imagining what it was going to be like climbing into that disgusting clammy gunge. Charlie couldn't go round doing things like this. It was cheating. I'd have to tell Tina. I bumped into Charlie on the way there, or rather, he bumped into me. "Whatcha, lover boy? Off to see your girlfriend?" Charlie's got such a tremendous imagination. I don't think. I looked him straight in the eye. "You've been up at the field." "Yeah." "You put frog spawn in the bath." "I never. It must have been the frogs." "What frogs?" "The only frog I saw was pushing a shopping trolley across the field with a bucket of frog spawn in it." Charlie was really startled at first. "Where were you? I never saw you." Then he grinned. "So what if I did?" he said cockily. "What are you going to do about it?" He stepped closer and towered over me. Have you ever noticed that when people are far away you can feel really brave about facing up to them? I reckon it's because when they're far away they look a lot smaller, so you're not so scared. Unfortunately, the closer they get, the bigger they get, and just at this precise moment, Charlie Smug was looking very big indeed. "It's cheating," I insisted, and all at once I saw a way of getting out of the bet. "You've cheated, and that means the bet is off. We're not going to bathe in that old tin bath." Charlie folded his huge arms across his chest. "I don't care," he sneered, "because if you don't get in yourselves, I'll just pick you up and put you in there myself. Got it?" He reached out, seized me by both arms, and lifted me 6 inches clear off the pavement. I could feel his fingers like iron bands squeezing round my puny arms. My heart was thundering away, and I really thought I was going to become strawberry jam. Charlie shoved his fat, pimply face right up close to mine. "See what I mean?" he grinned and plonked me back down. He pushed past and went up the road laughing. I was not in a very good mood when I reached Tina's, and by the time I had finished telling her about Charlie, she wasn't very happy either. "Frog spawn?" "Yes, frog spawn. There wasn't any frogs spawn in there before. It's bubbling over with stuff now." Tina was seething. "He can't do that," she cried. "It's against the Geneva Convention. We'll take him to the European Court of Human Rights." I nodded glumly. "Yeah, he can't do things like that. Trouble is, he has. After my most recent encounter with Charlie, I knew for certain that there was absolutely no chance of escaping our fate unless we wanted to become the latest batch of strawberry jam. I didn't think life could get any worse. Streaker was uncontrollable, and we were doomed to drown in frog spawn. "What also gets me," I grumbled, "is that everyone seems to think we're in love. They think you're my girlfriend." "You don't have to look so disgusted by the idea," Tina pointed out. "Well, you know what I mean. They're all stupid." "Yeah," Tina said quietly. Her face had this strange look on it, as if she was smiling, but she wasn't. At least her mouth wasn't, if you see what I mean. "Cheer up," she said. "You're such a pessimist. We haven't lost the bet yet, and there's still some of that £30 left. I've been thinking about Streaker, and I've had an idea." "What? Tina the organiser?" "I'm the ideas man." I glanced at her suspiciously. "Yeah? What is it?"